Nintendo has finally released a full-length trailer for Pikmin 4 on the Nintendo Switch, which means as a longtime Pikmin fan, I can't wait to jump in there and dissect this trailer and just figure out anything we can about this upcoming game. Let's get started. My name is James, and I started this channel because I simply love video games. If that sounds like you, please consider hitting the like button on this video, the subscribe button on my channel, and ringing the bell to make sure you're not missing any other of my videos. Before I get started, I wanted to remind everybody that I am a longtime Pikmin fan. I've played Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 3 a whole bunch. I'm not as hot on Pikmin 2, so I haven't played it quite as much, which will actually be a little bit interesting as we start dissecting this trailer. But I really enjoy Pikmin, and I feel like I've seen enough of the games where I can dissect this trailer in a meaningful way and hopefully point out some stuff that you haven't seen before. Anyway, so this is not a first trailer reaction. I've already watched the trailer. I actually probably watched it about 20 times preparing for this video, but I'm going to have my iPad right here. I'm going to have the trailer playing on my iPad, and I'm going to pause it so that I can look down and talk about different things. So that I'm not missing anything, and we're just going to go through the trailer from start to end, and I'll do my best to put up still images on the screen so that you're not watching me watch this video the entire time, so that you can kind of see what I see. But I've never done one of these videos before, one of these trailer breakdowns, so honestly, we're just gonna jump right in and hope for the best. All right, so right at the beginning of the video, the first 15 seconds or so, we see a spaceship approaching what appears to be Earth, PNF 404. However, if we go back, this spaceship is noticeably different than any other spaceships we've seen before. It looks pretty high-tech. It doesn't look like a junky old ship like from Pikmin 2, the Hakatate Freight, I think is what it was called. And it's definitely not part of the SS Dolphin from the original Pikmin, and it really doesn't look like the ship from Pikmin 3 either. So yeah, so that was the first thing I noticed in this video, and the planet that you're approaching here does look like Earth as seen from outer space, PNF 404. I would be surprised if they didn't return to Earth, because I feel like part of the charm of the Pikmin games as a whole is just getting to experience these funny and unique ways to describe our everyday objects. I remember I believe it was Pikmin 2, they found a glove, and they called it a 5-man knapsack or something, and there was a orange or a peach or something that was called a citrus lump. And just a lot of the fun names of these items that we're familiar with, I feel like is part of the charm of the Pikmin series. And so I really don't see them getting away from that in this new Pikmin game. And then it cuts to what looks like a park. We'll pause it right there. The park looks to be pretty normal, but as I just kind of mentioned, part of the charm of the Pikmin games is getting to see these very very small areas of these everyday places. I think in Pikmin 1, there was an entire section that took place in a bathroom, which was pretty cool. So I wouldn't be surprised if this park that we're seeing in that first shot is teasing that we're going to be going to all new locations and experiencing probably some new enemies and in new locations, maybe even some new Pikmin types, which would also be pretty exciting. All right, so we see a fiery blowhog there. And then in this short little scene, we see these little bird-like things that are jumping around. And if I'm not mistaken, these look to be... If I'm not mistaken, those seem to be a smaller version of a burrowing snagret, which I think that was the name of them. bird-like creature that is half in the ground and half not in the ground that like picks away at your Pikmin. I'm gonna try to remember to put an image on the screen of one of those so that I don't just sound like a crazy person. But yeah, and then also in the same shot with the little bird-like creatures that we haven't seen before, there's a little blue object. It's kind of hard to see, but it's in the back, and it's kind of like glistening, which leads me to believe that this is going to be some kind of like collectible. Or in the first Pikmin, it was ship parts. In the second game, it was treasures. In the third game, it was fruits. Yeah, and then also in this same frame right here with the little bird creatures, we have some some pots that have cracks in them over on the left, which if you've seen the whole trailer already, you know what those are for, but we'll get to those later in this video. And then we've also got some like kind of crystal looking kind of light blue pellets around the middle of the frame. And I have a theory. Those actually show up quite a bit in this trailer, so we'll talk about those later. And I have a theory on what those are for, that we'll cover that at the end of this video too. So we see the spaceship landing on the planet. This is a big deal. It doesn't seem like a big deal at first because spaceships land all the time. However, I want to remind you, in Pikmin 1, crash landed. Pikmin 2, you didn't crash land, but you were kind of sent back to PNF 404 against your will. Pikmin 3, they were looking for fruit to save their species, and they ended up crash landing on the planet. So this leads me to believe that whoever we're going to be playing as in this video is not here accidentally, like Olimar was in the first game, or maybe not even here out of desperation, like in the second game or the third game. And then when we finally do see a figure come out of this spaceship here, it doesn't look like anybody that we've seen before. It does kind of look like a mix of Amy and Alf from the third game, but it's kind of hard to see, so I don't really want to run wild with that. The next thing we see is the onion jumping up out of the ground and planting itself, as we've seen in many of the other Pikmin games. So we saw the red Pikmin and the design, or we saw the red onion, and the design of the red onion, it might be similar to how it is in Pikmin 3, but I think it looks a little bit different, which would lead me to believe that, as we mentioned earlier with the park, this is going to be in a new area. We might see some variations in the different kinds of species we see. I find that pretty interesting. And then if we go a tiny bit further, we do actually see the onion with 3 colors on it: red, yellow, and blue. Definitely confirming that we are going to get the 3 original Pikmin types in this video, but also confirming that all of our Pikmin are probably going to live in this one onion, similar to Pikmin 3, and different from how it was in Pikmin 1. All right. And then in that same shot where we saw the 3 colors on the onion, we see that same, it looks to be the same bench from before, and then, yeah, so it does appear to be the same bench that we saw earlier in the video, and then in the distance over on the left side of the screen, underneath the bench, well, behind the bench, but you can see it under the bench, is some kind of red object that, to me, that does look like it kind of looks like a cherry, like a piece of fruit or something. And so I think it's possible that we're once again collecting fruit, but that collectible that we saw earlier in the video, the blue one that was kind of shiny, didn't look like a piece of fruit. So maybe we're here and we're trying to collect both like treasures from the second from Pikmin 2, and also collecting fruit as some sort of food supply, like in Pikmin 3, but not sure. And then over by the uh, kind of in the middle of the bench area, we do see some more of those kind of ice-looking pellets. Um, oh shoot, I missed something. In the scene where the girl character is going over to pick up the first red Pikmin, you can see a big spaceship over on her right hand side, and the colors of that big spaceship match the colors of the little spaceship that she came to the planet in. So I think it's safe to assume that once again we're going to have multiple playable characters, and maybe even definitely probably going to have multiple playable characters. And since they are in such a big ship, I think it's pretty likely that their mission here is probably much bigger than anything we've seen in any of the other Pikmin games. All right. So, in our next scene, we have a wide shot of the park with our character leading some Pikmin, and we can kind of see some of the UI. Maybe not the UI. You can kind of see a little bit of the heads-up display here, as far as we see a cursor that is showing where the Pikmin is going to be, and we see a little Pikmin icon showing that you have 14 yellow Pikmin with you. I feel like these are... I don't remember if those exactly were in Pikmin 3, but those are definitely quality of life improvements over the first Pikmin, which I've been playing lately. In this same shot over... We'll just go left to right. On the far left side of the screen, we see even more of those light blue, those large light blue rocks, crystal-looking things. And then if we move to the right a little bit, we see what I think is going to be another like fruit or treasure type thing. And there's some binoculars there, which, if I had to guess, the Pikmin are probably going to be able to pick up the binoculars, whatever, carry them back to their base. And in similar Pikmin fashion, I wouldn't be surprised if the binoculars gave you some kind of like enhancements as far as like being able to see further, or maybe from where you are it'll like open up a new area because now you can see so much further looking through there. Everything else in the shot does look pretty normal. There's a big iron gate over on the right side of the screen, and then we do also have our first view at a large Bulborb. So those guys are going to be back. I really like the large Bulborbs. I think those are probably my favorite enemies. And then we get to see a little bit more of that same shot from the other side of the character. We see a butterfly back there, and we see our character throwing some Pikmin at a little wall, and the wall breaks. The wall actually does break instantly, which is a different animation than in previous Pikmin games. In all the other Pikmin games, I believe that it kind of took damage over time and was kind of slow, but I don't really think that's that big of a deal. What is important, though, is breaking down that wall does spit out two of those light blue gem-like pellets that we have been talking about this entire video so far. Fighting a fire blowhog, the red Pikmin still appear to be immune to fire, and then we see the Pikmin kind of pulling on a leaf and then it eventually, once you get enough Pikmin on there, it breaks apart and then opens a new path. I always thought those kinds of environmental things of like, oh yeah, you just have to have you need such and such many Pikmin to do this. I always thought that those were kind of cool, even though a lot of them are kind of like a one-time thing, and I wouldn't really consider it like a puzzle either. I don't know. I've always kind of enjoyed that about the Pikmin games. In this weird section, I watched this section of the trailer so many times, just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So you very quickly see a wall change colors, and then you see your your character and all the Pikmin run vertically up the wall, and then they sit right up top. It was hard to tell if the wall changing color was something that the Pikmin were doing to it, or if it was just something that that type of texture just does whenever you get close to it. And then when you get up to the top, there is an enemy up there that I don't remember ever seeing this enemy before, but it looks kind of like a two-legged blowhog, um, with but more bird-like in a way. It doesn't seem like there's like a whole bunch of these things. In the shot that we see this first one, I only see one. So if I had to guess, this would probably be considered like a mid-sized enemy, similar actually probably to a blowhog or an enemy a little bit bigger than a blowhog, where they would kind of have a few of these scattered throughout this one area. Next we see the Pikmin picking up the binoculars, and in the distance we do see a baby Bulborb, the baby red Bulborb, which we were expecting to come back since we already saw the big Bulborbs earlier. They take the binoculars to the ship. They don't take it to the big ship, though. They take it to the little ship. So this little ship is capable of absorbing treasures and stuff and transporting heavy objects, which I think is important. We'll get to that later. And then also, when it's absorbed, it says on the screen, "New treasure collected." And seeing as this, whoever we're playing as in this video, or in this game, came to PNF 404 on purpose, I think that it's very likely that they just came here out of greed. That, so Pikmin 1, you crash landed, you were getting your ship parts, repairing your ship, all that stuff. Pikmin 2, the only other game where you were looking for treasures. Your company was in debt, so you were sent there with this crappy spaceship to repay this debt, collect treasures to repay a debt so that the company can succeed or something. They didn't send you in a crappy spaceship, and they actually sent you with a pretty big spaceship, with big, expensive-looking spaceship. But I think it's very possible that we end up on PNF 404 simply out of greed, and then things start going a little bit poorly, maybe, that things aren't quite as easy as they would have thought. And then we get our first look at some new Pikmin, the Ice Pikmin, which looks a lot like the Rock Pikmin, but in like a lighter blue with some kind of gas swirling around it. And then we get some shots of what you can use the the new Ice Pikmin for. We see them freezing an enemy, and then the enemy breaks apart and presumably dies. We see them getting thrown into water and then freezing the water, and then allowing the explorer and the Pikmin to then just walk on top of the water. So I'm wondering if Ice Pikmin are maybe gonna replace Blue Pikmin, because in this shot right here, with the water, we see you have the red Pikmin and the yellow Pikmin with you, and you have Ice Pikmin, but no Blue Pikmin with you. So it's possible that they're replacing, not replacing them completely, because we did see the Blue Pikmin earlier in the trailer, but possibly, as far as like functionality, completely replacing the Blue Pikmin. In this next area, there's a dog, and this dog, who I believe is named Achi, we see that the dog can break pots with some cracks in them that we saw earlier in the video. And then over in the background of that same shot with the dog breaking the pots, we see a few more enemies. We get those burrowing, like, anteater bug type things. I should have probably looked up the names of all these enemies before I made this video, but I didn't. And then we very briefly see a green or like a yellow Wollywog, which are the frog-like enemies. So it appears that similar to the ice Pikmin, the dog can kind of be used like functionality-wise. We also get to see in one of the shots the dog moving an entire Bulborb by itself. So I think you can also, and it appears that the dog has the strength of 10 Pikmin. I don't know if you can get multiple dogs or anything, but if you could, we might not even need Pikmin anymore. And then in the same shot where we see the dog dragging the Bulborb, we also see a pumpkin in the distance in the top left of the screen. As I mentioned earlier, it is possible that we are both collecting treasure and fruit. So maybe something happened and they had to abandon life on whatever the Olimar planet is called, and now they have to actually settle on PNF 404. I don't know why they would choose that, because PNF 404's oxygen is toxic to their species, but yeah, let's keep going. And then in this next shot, we see the dog with some Pikmin kind of jumping around on it, and we actually see 4 space people kind of wearing the same space suits that the player character had been. I think it's possible that we get 4-player co-op in this game. Pikmin 1, you could only play as Olimar. Pikmin 2 added Louie. Pikmin 3, but then took away your ability. You could play as 3 people, and it took away your ability to play as Louie and Olimar. And so I think it's possible that we're going to be actually able to play as all 4 of these characters. Maybe this game will have a bigger emphasis on like multiplayer. Definitely something to explore there. So as we keep going, in this next scene, we see all of the Pikmin jumping on top of the dog and then using the dog as a flotation device, which kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, that like, what's the point of blue Pikmin now then? If you can just cross over the water like that. Anyway, I know that you would still need to carry stuff through the water and whatever, but it does kind of seem like blue Pikmin are going to be a lot less important than they once were. And also, in the same shot with the dog, visible both when the dog is getting into the water and when the dog is getting out of the water, it looks like a little like toy boat with that same kind of glimmer on it, which you can probably bet is a treasure that we're going to be collecting too. And I don't know, maybe that'll give our player the ability to traverse water without the dog. In one of the next couple clips, we see a character on the ground. They looks like Louie to me. It looks like the body shape of Louie, and the bulb thing on its head is blue, which leads me to believe it's Louie. I don't know if it'll be similar to how you kind of had a less than pleasant run-in with Louie in Pikmin 3. I'm hoping that they don't just kind of rehash that whole thing, but we'll see, I guess. We'll have to kind of wait and see there. In the next scene, we see what appears to be a boss battle. It looks like a variation of Beady Longlegs, who I'll try to put a picture on of the screen. And then this guy. We also get one of those giant slug creatures that poops out tiny little Bulborbs. And I don't even remember which game that thing was in. That thing might have been in Pikmin 2, because I don't think it was in Pikmin 3. But that thing sucked. That thing was probably one of the worst Pikmin bosses to date. But yeah, there's some shots of that thing getting fought as well. And then we see the character and all the Pikmin step into this like air current and kind of get thrown up into the air, and the little spaceship thing from the very, very beginning of the video flying up after them. I think that this is telling us that caves from Pikmin 2 are going to be back. This would also align with my kind of theories on... this would also align with my theories on the greed and the money storyline that I think they're going to be going for here, because if you are coming here and just searching for anything valuable you can, it would kind of make sense that you would kind of go underground a little bit. Yeah, so I do think caves are coming back. Then, this is when it kind of starts to get interesting. So, we see that main character, that main controllable character, and the dog get sucked into the little spaceship, and it leaves at the end of the day. And it leaves, and the onion leaves too. But the other 3 characters stay there on the planet, which I feel like is pretty significant. So this far in the Pikmin series, the end of day has always been like a no playtime, like we got to get out of there, like this is a dangerous time. However, they do have such a big spaceship, it's possible that they came there prepared, which would be why they're staying down there. However, if I had to guess, there's going to be an optional mode where it is nighttime. Probably the enemies are going to be like a lot more aggressive and scary. Then in the very end of the trailer here, we get a shot of the park, and there's all these little crystals around, and we see a Bulborb, and its eyes shine bright red, and then it marches off towards something that is out of camera. Some important things about the shot of the Bulborb there at the end: it is nighttime. We forget about Bulborbs is that they're actually nocturnal, and typically whenever you find a Bulborb in any of the areas in Pikmin 1, 2, or 3, they're asleep. So maybe it'll be some kind of like Bulborb rush mode where you have like a whole bunch of Pikmin and just have to kind of like defend your area or whatever. But I don't know if that's what it would be, because we saw our onion leave with the little spaceship, the onion and the dog. That was the whole trailer from start to finish. Now, to recap what we know that there's probably going to be 4 playable characters, and they are the girl, Shepherd, Colin, and unnamed character. We know that they're here on PNF 404 by choice, which will probably play into the story. And I think that if they're there out of greed and also kind of feeling like they're prepared for anything that comes with them, can also maybe play into their reason for staying on the planet at night, where typically we see our explorers go up into the atmosphere and stay safe. It showed us the ice Pikmin, but it didn't show the rock Pikmin, the flying Pikmin, the white Pikmin, or the purple Pikmin. I would expect all of them to be in the game. The official box art for this game does actually have all 8 Pikmin types on it. So red, yellow, blue, white, purple, rock, flying, and ice. So yeah, even though it didn't show it in the trailer. One thing I do find peculiar, though, is that I would be surprised if there's not 2 new Pikmin types, and they're probably keeping one a secret. Maybe there's one called, like, Hidden Pikmin or something. But, so, we had the 3 original Pikmin. Pikmin 2 introduced both the white and the purple. And then Pikmin 3 introduced the rock and the flying. So, maybe Pikmin 4 introduces ice and something else. However, this is a Pikmin game, and going back into my theory of stuff from earlier where those 3 explorers are staying on the surface overnight, and then we see all the Pikmin leave. I think that whatever those people do is going to introduce another Pikmin type, because it seems like it's going to be a pretty significant part of the game, especially if 3 of the 4 characters are going to be involved with it. And I find it unlikely that there's a large chunk of our Pikmin game that doesn't involve Pikmin. I did see a theory online. I watched like a little video that that hypothesized that there's going to be some sort of nocturnal Pikmin that only come out at night, which I think would be really cool. But for that, we're going to kind of have to wait and see. That is the entirety of the Pikmin 4 trailer. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Down below, let me know what you thought of the Pikmin trailer. Am I off base here? Did I completely miss something? Let me know down in the comment section. In the meantime, the best way to keep up with me is on Twitter at James_Solar. And that's it. Thanks for watching.